Good evening, good day. Hello, everyone back home. We are Voices Unleashed, and we're here for the second episode of Beyond Voices Unleashed. We are Andrea, Nicole, and Rule, myself, and what we've been up to the past 4 months is create a massive community of artists and people that look to connect deeper with each other. And out of that rolled a concept for open mics that we have been running for the past 4 months. And we're back up on Friday. Oh, yeah. Friday is happening again. But for tonight, Tuesday night, we're doing Beyond. And what is Beyond? Beyond is a spotlight on some incredible talent in our community, and to give them the floor to explain a little bit about who they are and how they came to be such amazing artists. So who do we have tonight, Nicole?
So tonight we have a very talented young woman by the name of Deniz Reno, and one of our favorite 3 pieces, Coconightman, all the way from Indonesia. So without further ado, shall we continue?
Yeah. Andrea, are you ready for it? All right.
Let's go Deniz in. Yeah.
Give it up for give it up for Deniz.
You know, from home. Deniz Reno. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fabulous. How
Fabulous. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your time, and thanks for being part of our community for so long. So a lot of to talk about. Well, there will be much more to talk about. We don't have probably surely not enough time to talk about everything that you've done in the past. And so Deniz from Kazakh, child artist, super young age, starting painting, sculpting, with from artist parents as well, both of them, right? You want to tell more a bit about the upbringing and your childhood?
So I was born in Central Asia. I was raised in Kazakhstan, in a small mountainous city called Almaty. And I was born in a family of sculptors. So my father and mother are both career artists. I had a pretty unconventional upbringing. I had access to clay and markers and paints and everything you could imagine, creatively from a very, very young age. And because my parents were mostly always home, focused on their own art, they just left me with all these materials, and I started using them since I could use them. So from the age of 3 and 4, and I started painting, and they would always listen to Italian opera. That's how I fell in love with music. So Italian opera, Pink Floyd, classical music. And as I sat there drawing and painting and sculpting out of clay, I would feel all these different emotions based on what music we were listening to. And I couldn't understand what music was. I just understood that if you pressed a button on the cassette player at the time, or on the you put vinyl onto the record player, that this magic would happen. The sound would happen, and it would make you feel all these incredible things. And it just, for me, it was magic. So I grew up painting and sculpting from the age of 4 till 10. I was considered a child artist because what my parents did was they just left me with all these materials, and I would be like a little machine. I would produce paintings and drawings and sculptures, and they just started taking them to galleries and entering me into these like child artist competitions, and I started winning them. And before you know it, that was kind of my career. Like I started selling art at the age of 4 because I used to make these 4, yeah, and it seemed completely normal to me. Like
how was the negotiation going?
Well, so I had this clay, and my parents had the firing oven at home and stuff, and they showed me. They're like, okay, you can make things out of clay. Then we'll dry them, we'll fire them. These are the glazes you can paint them with, and they need to be fired again. So I thought, oh, how cool. I started making these little figurines, mostly animals, chickens, It was a series of chickens. That was my was my first series, made out of clay. They were this big, and I made about 20 of them. And my parents took them to a little art salon at the National Museum, where they sold, amulets and jewelry and little souvenir things and little art pieces that people could buy on a consumer level. Like this was on the first floor of the museum. So my parents took those little figurines there and they started selling them for, I think it was 1 or 2 rubles. So Kazakhstan was still a part of the USSR, so I got paid in rubles and people started buying them. So I had this stack of rubles. And then a year later, the currency got switched over because Kazakhstan dropped out of the USSR. And so I still have this stack of rubles
That's great.
at my dad's art studio that I made, and that was the first money I made, being an artist. Later, it was bigger and better because I started making sculptures out of wax, and my father would take it to the foundry, and they would be cast into bronze, and then he taught me this. Now it seems wild, but at the time I was 5.5 or 6 years old, and because I grew up around him constantly cutting bronze and polishing bronze with power tools, he would bring my little sculptures from the foundry and he would give me like a Dremel tool, and he would teach me how to he would obviously cut all the framework off himself, so it wouldn't cut my fingers off, but later he gave me these little power tools, and he said, here you go, polish it now. So I learned how to polish bronze at the age of 6.
Amazing.
And
Nice.
it was super fun.
Yeah, I love that story and that so much interaction with your parents. I remember from, I think, another interview that you mentioned that, your parents were working from like an art first point of view, where like they were moving to like the suburbs when there were like more gigs in art, and when there was less, were back to the city and so on.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's a plus and a minus because more of a plus. My mom and my dad were always so invested into the heart and soul of what they were doing. So they weren't commercial artists, and by commercial I mean they didn't make art to sell it.
Yeah, for sure.
They didn't make art with the idea of who the audience is or who would buy it. For example, my father, who I actually interviewed last week for my own project, he says like all his art pieces are an exploration of the most important force in the universe, which is love, And so that they had quite an audience. They were very respected. My father is perhaps the most respected sculptor in Central Asia right now. But it didn't always translate to money. It didn't always translate to commercial sales because that wasn't the goal. But that's how they earned the respect of the audience. So I was raised with this idea that the most important thing was to create something new, to create something with meaning, not necessarily to make money. And the detriment of that, of course, is that you have to be very aware of, well, you can't just create for yourself, or I mean, you can, but we live in a material world and you need to also make money. So it's something I've had to learn over the years of how to balance the two, how to create something authentic out of integrity, but also have it be viable in the real world. And
always art first, like
exactly.
love first. I mean, great values to work from. And then going back to music, what is your first memory of music, and maybe how do you connect then basically to now?
My earliest memory of music was listening to music. So listening to Pink Floyd, like I remember, the first notes of that. It was like dun 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 dun, and my brain would just explode inside my head, and I would feel all these emotions. It's almost like I experienced music and color. It was this transcendent experience. And my first, I would say, real experiences with music was I would learn all the words to Luciano Pavarotti's songs, and then I used that to audition for my school. So my parents put me in a British international private school with a concentration in music, but to get into that program you had to audition and show that you had some sort of a propensity in music. It was either music or dance. So I auditioned for them. I sang, I think I sang like Nessun Dorma or something like that. And now again, it seems crazy. Like I was 7 years old. I didn't even know Italian or what the song was about. But that was my earliest recorded memory. However, my father said that when I was a baby in the crib, when he first saw me, I was singing. And I said, well, how is that possible? You know, babies wail, whatever. But then he showed me these tapes, and it was literally me laying there, and you can hear my father's voice going, shh, shh, like to my aunt, listen, listen, listen. And he had a cassette tape recorder, and he put it closer to me. And I was laying there in my crib going, and he said in the tape recorder, she's going to be a singer. Yeah. I had no idea. Like, I found this out when I was, I think, 14 or 16 or something. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Nice. And then moved to Canada, and then more and more songs, and then now as well a lot of music.
So I moved to Canada, and my art career kind of came to a halt because I realized that the culture in Kazakhstan was very much art-centric. It was like Bali. Art was very respected. If you were an artist, you were very respected. So when we moved to Canada, you know, my parents on a bigger scale went through this. You sort of lost your identity because the culture in Canada was more about sports, more about hockey, more about beer, more about, you know, business. So it was a struggle, and I lost my identity. I was going, you know, I was becoming a teenager. So on top of everything, I was like, well, what do I do now? You know, does my style have to change? And so I went through a bit of I would say, depression. And through that, I found music as the only way that I could express myself and how I really felt. So I think it was in grade 5 that we had to sing Circle of Life from The Lion King. It was like a big performance. And I remember being one of the 3 people in the group that could sing in tune. And I thought, hey, like I can sing. And then there would be hints here and there over the years where, you know, I would be singing Mariah Carey in the kitchen and stop. And then my dad would be like, who turned off the radio? And I'm like, that wasn't the radio, that was me. He's like, hey, you can sing. You know, so it was a gradual, I had so much respect for singers. And a little bit of a backstory, when I was back in Kazakhstan from the age of 7, I was professionally trained in flute. So I had a background in music, but it was instrumental. So it took a while until the age of like 14 when I auditioned to be in the show choir that I realized, hey, I can sing and I actually want to do this as a career. So it was a journey.
Amazing. And then, well, moving to Bali, because I think the last bit of music in your timeline now, it's very recent, ongoing in fact. And then, but before that, well, basically you find Voices Unleashed 4 months ago. We have running show. So how did you find Voices Unleashed? What did you find there? What made you come back every single week?
So I found Voices Unleashed through you, and I found you by just going through random Instagram accounts of my friends and clicking on pictures, and then I came across this account called Words About Everything. Yeah. And I thought, that's interesting. And by your picture, I couldn't tell if you were a guy or a girl because it was a silhouette picture and you had long hair. So I thought, oh, this is so cool. And I clicked on your story, and there was this story about, you know, if you want to share your pieces, we're having this...
Right on time.
Yeah, we're having this evening. And it was just... So for a good month or 2 months before that, everything was closed. Everything was shut. It was like the thick of COVID.
Yeah, right after the lockdown
season. Yeah. So, and I had this one poem that I had written that in my head I wanted to share with people. So I saw that story on your page, and I thought, oh, I want to share my poem. This is cool. This seems like a very cool thing to do. So I showed up, and there was something so magical about that first evening and how everyone came together. And for the first time, so I'm not a big fan of competitions or places where you have to perform with a bunch of other people, because there's always this element. I think it's from my childhood, because I had to compete so much. There's this stress of like, am I good enough? Am I, like, and there was none of that. Like, there's such a warm, beautiful atmosphere of everyone just being vulnerable and sharing, and you didn't have to be, the best poet in the world or that was my first piece I ever shared, right? So I loved that atmosphere. I loved you guys, and I started coming every week, and I only missed one. So you had 15, and I came to 14 of them.
Yeah, and we were hoping that you were not coming to sing, being a professional singer. And
yeah, it was funny.
Make us ridiculous. And then you came reciting a great poem and make us ridiculous anyways.
No, it's funny because you were like, oh no, you're a professional singer. I was like, it's okay. I'm
just going to read the poem.
Yeah, and that's mostly what I did at Voices Unleashed, because it gave me a platform to develop a new skill and to explore myself in a different way. Because music has been such a huge part of my life, and I've performed so much that it was actually also a really good thing for my ego, because even though I was surrounded by all these brilliant musicians, I didn't have this need to be like, I'm a musician too, and I'm good and whatever. I fell in love with poetry, and I fell in love with what you guys were sharing, and that was important to me. So everything about it just felt so warm and authentic, and that's why I kept on coming back. Like, to get me to come back to something or to like show up in the first place is very hard, and the fact that I came there 14 weeks in a row on a Friday night.
Skip the last one.
Instead of going to play pool at Mason, that was a big deal.
Yeah, well, we're very thankful. And the last question to say, so I just want to mention, so moving through these 15 weeks, you did a lot of collaboration, more and more, and got back into music, and you played at the open mic on Friday as well, music, and you're gonna maybe perform something around music. You just released an album, right?
Yeah, so on August 4th, I released a new EP album. So it's 5 tracks. It's a mini album. It's called Lovers, and it's available everywhere now on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. Like, if you put in Deniz, Reno, Lovers, you'll find it everywhere. And yeah, that was my latest pop record. And on October 16th, which is coming up soon, I am releasing a collaboration with a friend of mine, Matt Lang, out of LA, and he's fantastic. He's a Grammy-nominated producer and just an absolutely brilliant musician. So we're releasing a track together. Yeah.
Cool. Very last question. What's poetry for you?
Limitless, uninhibited expression. I feel like I've practiced the arts. I've practiced painting and drawing and sculpture and music and songwriting. There's something about poetry. It's the first discipline that I felt like I didn't have to be perfect or good or anything. I could just be. And that's something I wasn't able to find in music or visual arts. Yeah. I don't know for what reason, but there's something about poetry that just allows you to be so raw and honest and not have to be a certain way to be good. Like, that's what I love about it, and it's so accessible to everyone, more so than the other disciplines. And that's what I love about it. Yeah.
Great. Cool. I think we're just going to move into the performance. So what are you going to start with?
I'll read you guys a poem.
Okay. Finger snaps from the back.
So this poem, I read it, I think, probably in the 5th week of Voices Unleashed. It's called Love. It's just a philosophical exploration of love and relationships in the essence of how we relate to each other. I love you, the 3 most misused, abused, overused little words in the history of mankind. Thousands of years of humanity, And to the true meaning of these words, we're all still blind. And that's because most of us have been conditioned to love with our minds. We throw love around like cheap confetti and then wonder why we always end up alone. We seldom have the wisdom and the patience to water the gardens where true love is grown. He called me my love, and I replied, don't lie to yourself. How can you love me when you don't love you? You cannot give the other what you yourself don't believe to be true. Love is a promise to honor the whole. Don't tell me you love the best of me, and when you see my shadows, allow me to fall. That's not love, that's convenience. And I will not be a corner store you walk into once in a while to satisfy your need for something fun, fast, and easy. We need to learn how to fucking love, man. Recognize that we're each other's mirrors, that relationships help us see clearer into all parts of ourselves, light, dark, the space between. And those of us afraid to love are also the ones most scared of being seen. We spend all of our lives reaching for the sun, but when we find the one who shines their light into our hearts, will we allow this light to reveal and heal our deepest long-abandoned parts? Or will we play out the same old story? Come here. I love you. Come closer. No, not this close. Goodbye. It's easier for me to lie to myself and you than to let the light of love shine through the deepest parts of me and onto you. It's safe, and then I get to tell myself stories about why I couldn't be with you, and I will believe in them, because acknowledging the truth would mean having to face myself and all the barriers I have built within me against love, and realizing that you were enough, but the trouble is that I believed I wasn't. And so I left you before you could leave me, and that's the tragedy of being human. We all look for things we get and throw away. To understand what love is truly is to recognize when you're in heaven and have the strength to stay.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So then moving to the second part, we have a little fading performance. And I guess one of your favorite artists coming in.
So
Ryan.
welcome, Rian, everyone.
Thanks, Rian.
Rian and I are actually writing a new album together, but today we're going to perform a song called Lovers Crash and Burn from my new record, Lovers. This song was written about my relationship with my late fiance, who was a world-class wingsuit base jumper and who passed away 4.5 years ago. And this is basically our love story when we first met, and all the beauty and the love and hope and tragedy of that moment. So the song's called Lovers Crash and Burn.
Cool. I'll leave you guys the stage. Thank you.
Take our chances, driving fast into the night. I've got one finger on the trigger and the other hand squeezing my thigh. Baby, you're crazy, but you're the kind of crazy I like. Playing with fire, we both like it rough. I've only known you for 3 days, you're calling me a love. To crash and burn with you is almost guaranteed, but I keep stepping harder on the pedal. I'm wishing to believe that life could be this sweet, so I keep stepping harder on the pedal. You've got the devil's hands on your shoulder, I've got a knife stitched into my heart, but baby, it bleeds less with you. Darling, I would die for you. They could say what they want, but I could spend the rest of my life running from the world. just us two, doing what young lovers do. Hey, to crash and burn with you is almost guaranteed, but I keep stepping harder on the pedal. I'm wishing to believe that life could be this sweet, so I keep stepping harder on the pedal. We're here for a good time, we're not here for a long time. I want you to be mine, I want you to be mine. We're here for a good time, we're not here for a long time. I want you to be mine, I want you to be mine. Hey, to crash and burn with you is almost guaranteed, but I keep stepping harder on the pedal. I'm wishing to believe that life could be this sweet, so I keep stepping harder on the pedal. Hey, to crash and burn with you is almost guaranteed, but I keep stepping harder on the pedal. I'm wishing to believe that life could be this sweet, so I keep stepping harder on the pedal. Thank you.
Thanks, Deniz. You're amazing. So I'm going to bring in the next two. Come on in. All right. So this beautiful trio we have here go by the name of Coconightman. Woo! So boys, if you wouldn't mind, would you like to introduce yourselves?
And I'm percussion on Coconightman.
My name is Yusuf. I'm a vocalist and also play guitar or uku.
I'm Ryan, play guitar and vocal.
Welcome everybody to Coconightman. Super, super excited to have these guys here. So let's start with a little story. Yeah? Cool. Okay, first step. How did you all meet?
We are brothers, like same mother and same father, and we live together.
Real brothers.
Yeah. And I found Ryan on Tinder. I'm joking. I found Ryan on he had another band, and then like, oh, this guy kind of cool. Got his number. We get drunk. We make band.
No. All right. I love that. So how did you come up with the name Coconightman?
It was our uncle names, Coco, and we always work at night time, and we hope we become a man one day.
I feel like we're going to laugh the whole way through this. Amazing. Okay. So, can you tell us a little bit about what inspires the three of you to create music together? For example, it could be artists that inspire you, sound, each other, could be other people. What makes you three create together?
Maybe Rian go first.
For me, it's like because I'm grew up in the village. I heard the music. I hear a lot of sound of traditional music in my place, in my hometown, in Java. So my inspiration about the music is like in my village, is like a lot of uh, traditional about Indonesian. So I should make a music in my work, in my life.
Amazing.
Just like bring up like the authentic
Authentic?
of like locals to hopefully the word or like anybody who wanna listen and then feel our feeling too in the same way. So and we got like a lot of inspiration with like island music. We used to listen to like Jake Johnson and some reggae's, and I think there's so many musicians here. Like we're in the island, and I thought it's really nice to play like island vibes, and we come up with like Hawaiian. It's supposed to be like Balian one day, but it's Hawaiian now so far. And maybe my brother wanna say something.
I think same, man.
Okay, what's easy?
I think the same. Amazing. That's so cool. All right. I love that story, and I think you should brand that Balian folk music. One day. Trademark. So, who knows what week in Voices Unplugged you guys first came along?
Oh my god, I'm not really sober the whole time. Ryan remember everything.
It was pretty early.
The first time I come to Voice Unleashed, Hazel, from Hazel.
Number 2. 4 or 5? Okay. It seems like so much longer.
I forgot.
Okay. So my next question was going to be, how did you discover Voices Unleashed? So another one of our very talented musicians, Hazel. Shout out to Zali. Invited Rian along. And then what happened next? The three of you came, yeah? I invite my...
I talked to the boys like I want to perform on the event in the Voice Unleashed, and then the boys wanna come too, and then we do it there.
How did you find your first experience, Rian, of Voices Unleashed, of Unplugged? How did you find that event? Feeling-wise.
It's a feeling like I'm so nervous the first time I play there because we never play in the crowd. Like the crowd is focusing on us. It's really nervous to play there before the first time, and then until the last time I play, and I'm still nervous to play there.
But I'll tell you a little bit of like I had like really serious quarantine. It was not like the like COVID or whatever. Like I was just like staying and quarantining myself from like big change in my life. And the Voice Unleashed show me like for the first time after like very down situation that there is still like a beautiful life. So I was there. I was thinking like, what? It's like this is like alive. This place is alive, and I've never seen something as alive as like that. And was the feeling I had. I think this is so beautiful, man. It's cool.
And we still can do like socialize and everything, because before we just at home and do nothing at home. So I think in a first we came in a Voice Unleashed is like really good vibe.
It's like a joy, a love.
We love you right back. That's so beautiful. And you know, a lot of people went through the same thing, all that time alone, isolation. And then at the end of that, there's this event that comes out and all these incredible, artistic, creative and loving people come together and look what's happened. You know, there's countless friendships and collaborations and it's just, yeah, blossomed into like the most beautiful thing. So thank you, boys, for being a part of it. Going a little deeper. As Coconightman, what does your creative process look like in, say, songwriting or creating a music video? I'll leave you to it.
I have like a book that I wrote down. I call it like a bang words, yeah, like bang lyrics. So I just like putting things. You have something in my mind, just like a little. So like I save those the words, and then find a little bit of the key, and then Rian do the arrangement. So the music is all like Rian's, and the art like videos and like graphic is like my brother. So we kind of like all work very hard to make like one things. We like need each other helps always.
So it's the perfect combination.
So far, yeah. Except that we are single still.
All in good time.
It's actually better though.
Is there something you've learned as a musician and your journey through that you would want to share with other aspiring artists? Something that's helped you along the way?
I think that they inspire us. I don't know if anybody feel inspired by us. Yeah, I don't know yet. Maybe Rian knows. Yeah.
We are all inspired by you.
Cool.
Hence why you're here.
I forget the question.
Any lessons you have learned along the way that you'd like to share with other aspiring artists?
Just acceptance. That's like something I personally learned, like acceptance, like the good and the bad, and also lowering egos, because we're like three now. So like we are not like 100 only us. It's like we like sharing also together.
So teamwork.
Yeah. Wow, that was easy.
I love that. All right. Where do you want to go as a band? As Coconightman, what are your dreams?
Rian?
I don't know. Maybe first we going to around Indonesia, I think, in Java and Kalimantan and everything, and then I don't know, Japan maybe or Thailand.
Basically, for us, we love traveling, so we would love to travel with the music too, anywhere.
That's the point.
Nothing about creatively. I love that. Travel. Like, who doesn't want to travel as a musician? All right, so let me check the time. Oh, yeah. All right. So we have time for 2 songs. So tell us a story. Let us know what your song's about or what inspired you to write these pieces.
Okay, so like the first song it's gonna be Those Dream. It was actually probably my personal childhood dream. It's like, I don't know if you guys believe in karma, but I always like dream about the same guy with the same story. And then when I was 15, I realized that I should probably write it down, and then it became the song. So it tells about like the guy who probably lived before me, and then his experience and his story too. Because it's like really long story. Put it in one song. Like a reincarnation. Did I say karma before? There was, yeah. Sorry. So reincarnation was the word, and Linda is like the next song. It tells about like the guitar that has been stolen, and I named the guitar Linda.
All right, let's do it. I'm going to leave you and give it up for Coconightman.
Every time I had those dreams, baby, and I know that my baby has gone. Every morning all I heard it is your baby asking me a cup of tea or coffee. When the night goes so long, but my heart beating stronger, your sweet smile will always on my mind. And I'll always remember the rain in that December. You were asking me to smoke this big cigar. Winter and fall's coming, baby. 20 years feels so fast, but it's not. And I never felt that I'm a lonely man. I live alone with your pictures in my head. And maybe somebody will tell me, I know that you're on this picture. And she told me she'll never come back home. And I will forget the day, I will find her all the way. And those dreams tell me what's going on. My old man is always asked me, son, why since he's gone you never smile. Said that I just lost my baby, and I know she'll know that I'm alone. I've been working every day, save those money for the day. Sun is burning my skin all day long. And where does my baby go? She left me till the day I don't know. And maybe I'll see her again. And maybe I'll see her again. And maybe she's gone with another man. Maybe I see her again. Thank you. And this one is Linda. It sounds like a Christmas song.
Where is Linda? She hasn't come back home. Where is Linda? She hasn't come back home. Maybe Linda will see that I'm alone with nobody. I'm alone with nobody. Sing to me. Well done, Linda. She found a new home. Well, I said, Linda, it's good to be home. Maybe Linda will find a right man with a good tattoo, a nice man with a good tattoo, but it's not me. Tell my love to Linda, tell her why I wrote this song. Hope that she come back tomorrow. Hope that she can feel my sorrow when I'm gone. Well, I'm gone away. Well, I'm gone away someday. Oh. Tell my love to Linda, tell her why I wrote this song. Hope that she come back tomorrow. Hope that she can feel my sorrow. Well, I'm gone. Well, I'm gone away. Well, I'm gone away someday. When I'm gone. Well, I'm gone away. Well, I'm gone away someday. Oh.
I'm coming in.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. Deniz, bring it in. Sit on the chair. I'll sit on the floor. All right. Episode 2. We did it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for being
much.
here.
Deniz, Coconightman, thank you so much. Please, everyone, find them on Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Amazon, iTunes,
All the
Apple
same
Music.
name. Everyone.
Deniz, Reno, Coconightman. Thank you so much to you guys for coming, for sharing your art, for sharing your heart, for sharing your soul. And for all of you watching, either on a recording or live, thank you so much for supporting the space. Thank you, Felix Oliver, Maju __co at Instagram. Thank you so much for the setup. Tropical Nomad, thank you so much for accommodating us. This is incredible, and this feels like another whole new ride.
It is a whole new ride. Beyond the artist, beyond Voices Unleashed. I don't know about you guys, but it's pretty awesome to get to know all of our artists a little bit deeper, a little bit more, find out what makes them move and create. And yeah, it's really awesome. Also, just a shout out to our girl Stania behind the camera on Instagram. Thank you for everything you do for us, with us, for this community. We absolutely adore you. To our guests, our beautiful friends, thank you for being with us and for sharing everything that you are. To our little audience.
Yeah, and just for
go.
just for the people back home, please send in your own song, poem, dance creation. Send it to voices_unleashed_ and let us feature you. Let us celebrate you and share your art with the world. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, thanks again for everyone, and then for everything that's coming up, just follow us, turn on the notification. We're gonna get on YouTube soon as well, and Friday we're back with the open mic. Limited attendee numbers. Yeah, that's it. Thanks everyone for the setup and for the show.
See you next
See you next week or Friday.